Okay. I am going to explain to you what reincarnation is, and it's not exactly what people think it is, right? So we have to get to the core of this, right? So, in totality, all there is God, source, infinite consciousness, pure being, the I am. That's all one thing. It goes by many names, right? The Hindus call it Brahman, many call it God, the Father, whatever you want to call it. It's referring to this pure beingness, this I am, right? It's eternal. It is the source of all, right? So that is all that exists, right? Truly, this is all that exists, is this I am, this infinite consciousness, right? So what life is as a whole reality, right? This consciousness, this pure consciousness, needed a way to express itself, right? It is just pure, right? It is formless. It's in a sense nothing, right? But nothing doesn't mean lack of existence. It means it's no individual thing. It's no thing, right? It's eternal. It's eternity itself, right? And the many traits of this eternity is love, because there's no separation, right? There's no feelings to not be love, right? So it is pure love, it is pure knowing, right? But it's all as one thing, right? So how can this God understand itself, right? And then you'll get people saying, well, God is all knowing. God already knows itself. Yes, it does. That's why the eternal source is always there. But we're talking infinity here. So it's got to go to many levels, right? At the core, yes, God does know itself and never didn't know itself, right? But in infinity, there is a possibility for questioning and limitation, right? So in this small fraction of eternity, God wanted to experience itself. It was just one of the infinite ways of being, right? So what these lines represent, right, are individual strands of eternity. So there's infinity of these, right? It is infinite, right? And why it's on the outside is because, so in reality, there's only this, correct? So what this is God had to divide itself into infinite perspectives, right? And that's what space is, right? Space is a vacuum, which is completely empty, to create space, literally space, in between each of these fragments or these strands, right? It had to create some distance, right? So the space is there to create distance or separation, so that we can unravel this, right? It's like if you look at a shirt, right? If I was to unravel this shirt I'm wearing, you'd have individual strands, right? So that's what we got here. And each individual strand, right? Each individual strand is a being, right? You are one of these strands, right? I'm one of these strands. Everything, every being is one of these strands, right? It's all consciousness, right? This can be seen as the children of God. This is what Jesus meant when saying that we're children of God, But we're going to get into reincarnation now. So ultimately, this is the energy source, right? The source of all energy. Each individual strand is energy, right? And what do we know in science? Energy cannot be created or destroyed, only transferred. So now this is in space. Now, why is it not just like a dot? Why is it a line, right? Why is it a long line? This is because God had to create like frames, kind of like a movie, like an old motion picture, when there are many photos put together to make a continuity, like a film, right? So time space is like each frame, right? So you go through different levels of experience, starting furthest away, closer back to the source, right? To come to know yourself. So we're just going to focus on one of these, right? So we're just going to say this one's me for a better way of understanding this, right? And you go as far away from the source as you can, right? And this kind of goes along with the law of one, where, you go from like a 2D, 3D, 4D, different complexity of being, right? You start maybe as like a molecule, then an element, then a bacteria, then, a bug, a plant, an animal, a human, as etc., until you just merge back with source, right? So I want you to see this as along the strand are different points on your existence, right? So let's just say, there's really no set number of these because everyone is different because we're all unique expressions, right? So we're just going to say, for example, this is a lifetime where you were a rock, You may have many of these until you get to the next stage, right? Now maybe you're a plant, right? Many of these. Now maybe you're an animal. Now you have many of these, Now you're a human, right? Then blah, 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 blah. You reach liberation from being a human, You understand the truth, but you're still on your journey, right? You'll have many more unfathomable experiences until you're just back to pure consciousness. But around the point of enlightenment, when you go from, 3D to 4D to 5D, you understand this all, right? Right? You understand that you're truly the I am presence experiencing itself through this unique viewpoint. So in a way, you're both a child of this, you're a strand, but at the same time, there's no separation. So you are it as well. So this is when Jesus says that, the Father and the Son are one, right? So reincarnation is just that, At one point, let's say this is a rock, At one point, it's not that I'm I'm over here as a human. I'm the reincarnation of this rock. It's not that, no. It's this essence was once what that rock was, and now it's this. Because this isn't you either. Let's say this is a human being, right? We're going to make a little smiley face, right? This being a human being, this isn't you. And once you realize the non-dual truth, you realize that you're really all of this and not this. This is just what that is experiencing, right? So rather than saying this human being is the reincarnation of that rock, it's the underlying essence is the same, right? So when we talk about reincarnation, like, for example, I know of two people who I were that were pretty big in history that I'm the reincarnation of, and I'm not going to reveal them, but I can tell you this, that if I did, I also feel like it would ruin what my life purpose is in this lifetime. But rather than focusing on who I was, because then the ego gets a hold of that and then misunderstands it. Like, I was this person when in my past life, when no. The essence is still here. Like, you're in the here and now. You're the continuation. Like, let's say I'm this person now, right? And if this person was to find out that they were this person in a past life, their ego and their mind that may dwell on that, like, and then live inauthentically through the past, trying to be this. When, think about it like this. This person was a caterpillar, right? This person is the butterfly, right? Does the butterfly dwell on being a caterpillar? No. It understands, that that's what it is, but at the same time, it's now a butterfly, and then and so forth, it'll be something else, right? So it just continues the destiny of the caterpillar in a new form, right? So when you do find out who you were in a past life, if you do, it doesn't serve you to focus on it, right? To help you understand your place as a strand, as a son of God, right? It's cool to know, but if you start dwelling on it, you're going to miss out on part 2 of the destiny. This is like part 1. Part 2, you got to focus on part 2. You got to be in the present, right? So reincarnation is just that. You are the essence. You're not these individual egos. So, like, let's say this person's name is Bob, right? And this person's name is Jim, right? So if Bob was going around telling everybody, I was the reincarnation of Jim, that ruins the message, right? No, it's the same essence that is Bob was once Jim. So